G'day everyone. If you're new here, my name's Sam, and thank you so much for choosing to practice today. Today's practice is going to be focusing on Patanjali's sixth limb of the 8 limbs of yoga, Dharana. So Dharana can be described as an intense focus or a deep concentration. And if there's a part of the practice that I feel really elicits a deeper concentration and a more intense focus, it's standing balance. So we're going to be working with some standing balancing poses and hopefully working some binds into our standing balance. Binds by themselves and balance by themselves are challenging. When you put the two together, we really need to find that dharana, that intense focus, that deeper concentration. And we're going to use the gaze, our drishti, to help us find that as we move through the practice with a focused breath, steady mind, and a calm body. A block will come in handy throughout the practice. Other than that, when you're ready, we'll get right into it. So take yourself towards the top of your mat. Find Tadasana if you can, so just set 2 big toes so they're touching, and feel a strength through the legs. So flex into the quads, lift up nice and tall. Let the shoulder blades draw down the back. And for a moment, just let your eyes soften shut, or let your eyes focus gently just to the floor out in front of you. So whether your eyes are closed or you're finding your drishti down on the floor, you're focusing your awareness. You're trying to direct your attention. Throughout the practice, you are always going to have thoughts that come up, almost like random clouds in the sky. And just like random clouds in the sky, they're not going to stay forever. They change shape, they morph, they grow bigger, smaller, they dissipate. And it's important when these thoughts come up not to attach to them, for you know they're ever changing, and you know they're not going to be there forever. Take another breath right where you are. And gently blinking your eyes open, start to take your arms out to either side of the room and make a little thumbs up. From here, we're going to turn the thumbs down towards the floor, so finding an internal rotation of the upper arm bone, and then bend the elbows just to let your fists gently touch behind the back. So we're not interlacing the hands just yet, we're just letting those hands gently touch each other, just like this, probably around the mid-back, if that's available for you. Then if you can, start to firm into the glutes, press the hips forward, and find a gentle back bend here as the heart rises, drawing the elbows towards each other. You're finding a little bit of extension through the shoulders there. And it's really important that the hips are pressing forwards as we lift the chest. So feel the tailbone tucking under as the chest starts to rise. We'll take another breath here. And as we exhale, we'll hinge from the hips, we'll start to fold forwards over the thigh. You might like to take a little more space between the feet as we're going to hang out in this fold for just a little bit. Maybe you catch hold of opposite elbows here, let the head drop down and just start to move gently from one side to the next. I find it quite nice if you are somebody who often holds a lot of tension in the back of the neck to interlace the hands and just let them rest to the back of the neck. This is just going to encourage a little more length through the back of the neck and into the base of the skull there. And letting your arms drop down towards the floor. We'll find a halfway lift, so let your spine get nice and long. Then right foot will stay where it is. We'll step the left leg back along to find a lunge. When we arrive there, press your left palm down into the floor, reach your right arm up towards the ceiling. So come towards a twist, and see if you can draw the inner right thigh towards the chest as you draw the chest towards the inner right thigh at the same time. Drishti moves up towards the ceiling. Maybe you can see your right thumb there. And then we'll spin the thumb, bend the elbow, drop the arm behind the back. Just imagine that those right fingers were trying to drop down towards the floor. Sitting deeper in the right leg as the left knee lifts higher away from the floor. Maybe you find just a little more twist there. Breathe in. Stay for the exhale. And look down towards the mat. Right palm will ground. We're going to step back to downward facing dog from here. So pick up the right leg. As you come back to downward facing dog, we're going to reach the left leg up and back behind us. Keep it straight for a moment as you roll the hip open. Front of the pelvis turns to the left-hand side of the room. Spread the toes wide and feel the pinky toe on the left foot lift up high towards the ceiling, and then bend the knee. So as you bend that knee, imagine that your left heel was trying to press to the right side of the room. Maybe you even lift on to your left fingertips. Look under your left armpit and really breathe into the left-hand side of the torso there. Take one last breath. And we'll unravel. Come back to downward facing dog. So when you arrive, it might feel quite nice just to pedal out through the feet here. Just feel your way into the back of the legs. And maybe your eyes are softened shut, or you're just gently focusing your drishti to that space between the feet. As we settle into stillness, we'll take a long in-breath. Let it go. Then rise up high under the toes. Just start to slowly walk towards the top of the mat. Press the palms down firm as you deliver those feet forwards. And lengthening halfway on your inhale, let the spine grow long. As you exhale, feel the head dropping heavy. Then rolling up through standing. Bend the knees to get there. Circle the arms out wide and reach them tall as you breathe in. And the exhale, draw the hands through center as you reset into Tadasana. Take a breath right where you are. Just noticing the beating of the heart. See if a slower, more conscious breath can have an immediate effect on the lowering of the heart rate. And once we're ready to move again, the inhale will circle the arms up higher, let them rise over the head. The exhale will fold us heavy over the thighs, feeling the head drop down. As we lengthen halfway, we take a full breath in. This time, left foot stays, right leg steps back towards the lunge. That right palm presses flat, left arm reaches up towards the ceiling. Trying to move the inner left thigh towards you, trying to move your chest towards the inner left thigh, and then sinking into that left hip. Looking up towards the left thumb, drishti up to ceiling, spin the thumb, drop the arm behind the back. And left fingers are heavy here, so we don't want to feel the elbow lifting up high. We want to feel the arm sliding down, so it almost feels as though the hand's on the outside of that right hip here. Keep allowing yourself to move deeper and allowing yourself to twist more. Breathe in. Let it out. And drishti down to mat. Left hand grounds. Come back towards downward facing dog. When we get there, this time right leg rises. Leg is straight to start with as you roll the hip open. Spread the toes, feel the pinky toe rise, and then bend the knee with vigor. Actively move the right heel towards the left side of the room. Pop onto the right fingertips if you have more space. Look under your right armpit. As much length in the right side of the torso here as we can. Take another breath. And gently unravel. We find our downward facing dog. And again, we find our gentle breaths. This time as you gaze forwards between your hands, let your heels rise and your knees bend on an inhale. And on the exhale, try to gently hop the feet up towards the hands. Halfway lift as you breathe in. The exhale folds you over the thigh. And from here, take the first two fingers, so middle and index finger, they wrap around the two big toes, trying to have the palms facing towards each other if you can. Then lengthen yourself up halfway again, feel the toes press into fingers, the fingers press into toes, and then on your exhale, bend the elbows, pull yourself down. You roll the shoulder blades down the back as you use the biceps to pull you down over the length of your thighs. Nice one. Release the toes. We're going to roll our way up towards standing. And then when we get there, we'll shuffle the feet out wider and let the toes turn out wider than the heels. So we're just taking up a little more space here. We're going to take the hands behind the back. See if you can interlace your fingers to start with. Imagine they were almost like a zipper. So they're firm, they're pressing towards each other. Then we'll draw the shoulder blades towards each other. Press the hips forward to lift the chest. Take a breath in. As we exhale, hinge from the hips, bend the knees a lot as you fold down the center of your thighs. Little wiggle from side to side to feel the arms get a little bit heavier. Letting the chin draw in towards the chest. Now, as the practice progresses, if you do feel yourself building a sweat, then the interlacing of the fingers will start to get a little more challenging as we start to perspirate. So if you have the availability here in the bind, you might even be able to press the palms together. This will make the bind stronger, so just be mindful of that. See what that feels like. And I want you to see if you can maintain your bind, just start to bend into the knees. So you come down towards a Malasana squat with the hands still bound behind the back, if that's comfortable. If it ends up like this, with the hands are on the tailbone, but you've lost the squeezing, the retraction of the shoulder blades, then just release the bind. If you're in it, we're still trying to draw the shoulder blades towards each other and lift the chest up, just like we normally would in a Malasana squat. Take a breath. Very mindfully releasing the hands. This time let your arms fall inside your thighs. Get a little heavy, get a little rounded. Let the back of the hands rest on the floor. Let the head drop down. Nice one. From here we'll start to lift the chest. Ground the palms down, step your way back towards a plank position. Strong through the glutes and core, so belly draws in as you firm through the glutes. Let your chest move forwards, breathe in. Exhale, we lower and lift for the push-up. And then drop the knees, untuck the toes. You're going to lower down towards cobra pose. Pull the shoulder blades back, press through the feet, lift the chest. And allow yourself just to lower down. So in a moment, we're going to stretch out through the chest. You may have done this before in the yoga practice, but just watch your screen for a moment. It's going to be a little bit different. So often, for example, I have my left arm down here. Often we would take the right leg over to the left to stretch into the left chest. Only difference today, as we are working towards bind, instead of finding this external rotation through the arm, we're going to flip it to find an internal rotation. Now, it's important that the elbow is lifting high and you're trying to maintain that 90-degree-esque angle as you take the right leg up and over. So that was just for demonstrations. We're going to do it on the right side first. So you take your right arm, make that little scarecrow-like shape, elbows lifting nice and high, and you lift the left leg up and over. Now you may have quite a lot of space there. You may even be able to bend the left knee and just set the left foot flat. Notice I'm almost resting on the right-hand side of the body here. And if you have the space, you could take your left arm behind the back and perhaps interlace the hands to find that same bind that we found in our fold and our squat just prior. Head could be resting on the ground, or you could take your drishti up to ceiling, or even close your eyes as you raise your head off the mat. One last breath. Release the hands if they're bound. Come back through center. Set up your left arm like that little scarecrow. Elbow is nice and high. Right leg lifts up and over this time. Again, you might be able to set the right foot flat and be resting on the left side of the body, left side of the torso, outside edge of the left thigh. If you can take the hands behind the back and bind them, great. If you are binding the hands, we are working on that retraction in the shoulder blades, and really trying to draw the shoulder blades towards each other. Very mindfully. Releasing the bind. Coming back through center. Just taking a moment to do nothing when you get there. You can make a little pillow with your hands and just rest your head down, if that's comfortable for you. Maybe bending up the knees, letting the legs rock from side to side for just a moment. In a moment, we'll come back towards downward facing dog. Want to keep a block nice and close towards the top of the mat. Take the hands down, lift through cobra pose, breathe in. And the exhale, tuck the toes and guide the hips back to downward facing dog. We get there, let the right leg rise as you breathe in. With the exhale, pull the knee through chest and gently step the foot forwards. Take that block, pop it on the outside of your right foot, drop your back heel, and we'll come up towards warrior two. So take your time to rise. Lots of depth in that front thigh, nice and straight through the back leg. Let the arms extend out to either side of the room, front and back. As you sit deep into that right thigh, we're going to spin the left thumb down, take the arm behind the back. Just let it rest anywhere, it doesn't necessarily have to catch anything. And then see if you can take your right hand down towards that block. Push the leg into the arm to lift the left shoulder up nice and high. It's really important that you are pressing the outside of the right thigh against the inside of that right arm to find a little more opening through the hip. And very mindfully, we're just going to shuffle the left foot up a step or so and straighten out through the front leg. So now we're in half-bound Trikonasana, triangle pose. Flex into the right thigh, feel the kneecap lift, quadricep muscles engage. Drishti up towards the ceiling, maybe softening the eyes shut. Take an in-breath. And shifting gaze down towards your block. You're going to bend into the right knee, shuffle the left foot up another step. Then transfer the block out in front of you as you lean forward to lift your back left leg. Come towards a half-bound Ardha Chandrasana or a half-moon pose. Drishti is important here, so maybe you gaze down towards your block in your hand underneath you on the right side. If you feel yourself comfortably balancing, maybe you shift the gaze out towards the left side of the room. Spreading the toes wide on that left foot and feeling the pinky toe lift high towards the ceiling. Take a full breath in. Stay for the exhale. And listen carefully. Left arm's going to stay behind the back. You're going to come all the way to stand, landing the left foot next to the right. When the left foot grounds, bring the right knee to chest, then catch hold of the right big toe with the first two fingers. We extend the right leg straight out in front of us first, and with the left arm still behind the back, start to open the right leg out towards the right-hand side of the room. Just like at the very beginning of practice, press the back of the left hand into the back and draw the elbow back behind you. Take one last breath. And then right leg comes back through center. We bend the right knee, rest the ankle on the thigh, and sit back into your single leg chair. So the drishti fall about a meter or so in front of the mat, reach the arms out in front of you. Keep this right foot flexing if you can. Take a breath in. Stay for the exhale. Then press all the way up through standing and come to Tadasana. Nice work. Come back to your breath. Let everything begin to slow down. Next inhale, arms climb high. Exhale, we fold over the thighs, head drop. Halfway lift on your inhale. From here, just simply stepping your way back towards downward facing dog. If you'd like to splash in a vinyasa there, who am I to stop you? Take a breath. Let it out. And left leg rises straight up and back. Exhale delivers the foot between the hands. We try to get it there as gently as we possibly can. Take the block, pop it outside the left foot as you rise for your warrior. Lots of depth in that left leg. Spread the arms out wide. Right thumb starts to spin. Take the arm behind the back. Just let the fingers rest gently. And then left hand comes down to find the block. Press the arm against the leg and try to rotate the right shoulder up a little higher towards the ceiling. Just allowing yourself to find that deeper concentration, that intense focus. Shuffle the right foot up just a step or so, straighten through the front leg. So maybe your dhyana, your intense focus, is that drishti, simply gazing up. Last breath. Shifting drishti down towards block. Little bend in the front knee, shuffle the right foot up. Transfer that block out in front of you. Lift the back right leg. Trying to rotate torso, pelvis to the right edge of the room. Spreading the toes wide. If you feel the balance, maybe shifting your gaze towards the right hand side of the room. Breathing gently. Take one last breath. And then right arm stays behind the back. Come all the way up to stand. Land the right foot next to the leg. And then left knee draws to chest. We catch hold of the left big toe. Extend the leg straight out in front of us first before opening left leg to the left hand side of the room. Pressing back of right hand into the small of the back, drawing that right elbow behind you. Pushing through the right leg to come up to stand as best you can. One last breath. Let the leg return to center. Gently deliver your left ankle on your right thigh. Sit your hips back in space. Reach your arms out in front of you. Keeping that left foot flexing, diving deep into that right thigh. Take an inhale. Exhale presses us back up. We deliver the left leg down. Back to your focus. Back to your concentration. Maybe sigh out the next exhale. Symbolism of letting go. Next inhale, arms climb. Exhale, we fold, let the head drop. Lift yourself up halfway. We're just going to step the feet back and drop the knees down from here. Come towards Anahatasana, or melting of the heart pose. Hips stay high on top of the knees. Arms reach out in front of us. We work to lower the chest, maybe the chin down towards the mat. And that's one. Lift the chest, walk your hands back towards your feet. Find an upright seat. Rest the back of the hands on top of the thighs. Return to the breath. In a moment we come towards our little peak section of the practice, I guess you could say. Working towards a bound Pajvakonasana, side angle pose. Bound birds of paradise, standing balance. Potentially transitioning from that bound birds of paradise to a bound Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. Now, as we start to progress through, if you realize that the full bind is not for you, just as we did before, you can play with that half bind, which is just the top arm behind the back. Now, this is why we did that prior, so you would know how that felt for you. If you want to add on, you absolutely can. If not, doesn't matter. But when you're ready, we'll come back towards downward facing dog. And take a breath together, inhale fully. Little audible exhale. And right leg will rise up and back as we breathe in. Let the exhale deliver the right foot forwards between the hands. The back heel drop down, come on up towards warrior two. This time, we'll take that left arm behind the back as we did before. This time right hand moves inside the right thigh. And if you can, imagine this right arm was almost like a barn door you were trying to swing closed. Maybe you can take the arm around the back of the leg to find the bind. Sitting deeper in that right thigh. Trying to rotate torso towards the left. Maybe sending drishti up towards the ceiling. Take a breath. Now half bind or full, your choice. I'm going to gaze down to the right foot and work to step the left foot up to meet the right. So you step to the top of the mat, I'm going to step towards you. And once we arrive, we take our weight into the left foot, start to rise up towards standing. And you lift slowly, find your drishti. You work to straighten your left leg as best you can, and then perhaps straighten the right leg. Press the ball of the foot out. Keep lifting through the chest. Find your drishti. Find your focus. Take one last breath. And as you work to come on down, right foot grounds, toes face the front of the mat. Keep the bind if you have it. Pick up the left leg. Extend it back behind you. Pelvis rotates to the left-hand side of the room. Toes are spreading wide. As best you can, working to straighten both legs. Intense focus. Deep concentration. Take one last breath. Mindfully release your bind. Touch left toes to the back of the mat. Soften the back knee down and shuffle your right foot over towards the left wrist, setting up for pigeon pose. Wowza. Nice work on that one. That was super challenging, super wobbly. But give yourself some credit for giving it a go, for allowing yourself to come towards the challenge, to see what was available for you, and to allow yourself to find your intense focus, your deep concentration. Try to rest your head down on something there in your pigeon pose. Last breath. Gently walk the hands back towards you. Fall off onto your right hip and swing your left leg straight out in front of you. From here, we'll take the right foot to the outside of the left thigh. With the right arm behind you, let the left arm climb to the ceiling, breathe in. And let the exhale hook and twist you back over the right shoulder. You can take your left hand, let it come down and almost slap the outside of your right hip, just to tighten into that twist a little bit more. Last breath. Mindfully unraveling towards the opposite side. Fingers off the left edge of the mat. Rotate the torso, bend the elbows, let the chest drop. We'll climb back up. Just coming back towards downward facing dog from here, so crossing the ankles. Reset the block towards the top. Again, you may need it, you may not, in just a moment. As we arrive a little, pedal out through the feet when we get there. Take an in-breath. Audible exhale. And left leg climbs straight up and back as you breathe in. Exhale delivers the left foot between the hands. We get it there gently. As we rise, we sit a little deeper in the left thigh if we can. As we spread the arms out wide, right thumb spins down, take the arm behind the back. And then we work to take the left arm to the inside of the left thigh. If the bind is there, swing the barn door closed, take the arm behind the back. Maybe you find the bind. But there's a lot of depth in this left leg. You press the leg against the arm to rotate the torso. Letting the right arm be heavy. Take a breath. And look down towards the left foot. Again, you step your right foot up to meet your left. So you're standing at the top of the mat. I'll just turn myself towards the screen. I'm going to take the weight into the right foot. Work to come up to stand slowly, finding drishti out in front of you as you rise. Working to straighten your standing right leg before you worry about extending the left leg. Pressing the ball of the foot out, spreading the toes wide. You're working to lift that chest. Take a breath in. As you work to deliver the left toes down, left toes face the front of the mat. Keep the bind if we can. Work to pick up the right leg and extend it back behind us. Drishti focused, just down off the top edge of your mat. Spreading toes wide in that right foot. Working to straighten both legs as best you can. Take one last breath here. And then mindfully release the bind. Right toes to the back of the mat. Back knee drops. Wow. I don't know about you, but that was a real battle for me not to fall. We got there in the end, but I really love when it's not a fight for the pose, but there is this internal battle. The ego wants you to stay up, but sometimes it might be worthwhile to come out of the pose. But we have these conversations with ourselves. It keeps us focused. It keeps us in the practice, and that's what I love so much about the practice of yoga. You can learn so much in each little moment about yourself, about the body, about where the mind goes. Such a beautiful experience. A couple of breaths here in your pigeon. And walk the hands back towards the body, super slow. Fall onto the left hip. Swing the right leg out long in front of you. When you get there, take the left foot, rest it outside the right thigh. Left arm behind the back. Right arm reaches to the ceiling. Breathe in. Exhale, we hook that right elbow. We gaze back over the left shoulder. And the staying here of feeling the right hand move to the outside of the left hip. Just to almost tighten, almost like the way you would strap down a surfboard on the top of a car. Last breath. And unraveling towards the other side. Fingers off the right edge, bend the elbows, let the chest lower down. And as we rise back up, extend both legs out long in front of you. Give them a chance to shake out. And start to take yourself down on to your back. Just bring the knees in towards the chest here. Rest the hands around their respective knee. Little movement from one side to the neck. If you can, first two fingers reach up and catch hold of the big toes, just like we did in our standing balance and our forward fold. Maybe you're able to straighten the legs there. Take a little bit of movement from left to right. Bend the knees again, cross the ankles, wrap the arms around the shins, lift the head up. Allow yourself. Come on down. Rest towards Shavasana. A strong standing balancing practice. Strong level of awareness and focus, concentration. Now as you come down towards stillness, can you take your awareness, still with the eyes closed, to the palms of your hands? Without the need to see, can you imagine what the palms of the hands look like? And the beauty is they're your palms, you see them every single day. Can you start to remember the lines in the palms, the wrinkles, maybe the calluses? Can you imagine what the fingers look like as they naturally curl in? No effort is needed to curl them in, the muscles will do that work for you. Can you remember what the fingernails look like in this moment? They're nice and short, or do they need a little trim? Are the beds of the nails dry or moisturized? It's taking all of your focus, all of your awareness, all of the mind's energy towards the visualization of your palms, your fingers. And perhaps allow your mind to return to the breath as you drift off into stillness towards your Shavasana. Thank you so much for your time and your energy on the mat today. As always, from me to you with thanks. Peace.